Leaf came about when I was riding around. I just purchased Leaf. Okay. I'm just like so like. Hello, I'm Fresh Ed with Blank Records, here to explain Tabang, my sophomore album. My music, when I make it, sometimes just like a story, so I want to continue on from like that Jack Myers character. But I think what makes this different is I've connected things about my personal life more. It's more about my values and what I believe in, and kind of like things that I've been dealing with. And I feel like Tabang is like a more mature album talking about different topics. Tabang, it means help or aid, and Bisaya is a language in the Philippines. I've been taking time to kind of learn more Bisaya or Cebuano, and Tabang was kind of like the first words that I kind of just stuck with me. It was the only word that I could find that could match the vibe of the album.
Sick of the dumb shit, sick of the talking, I'm sick of the arguing, I'm sick
BOAR, I thought it would have left like a lot of that kind of shock sound or lyrics like that in Varuk, but I feel like that was like my final like say making that sound, and really like a goodbye to like kind of trying to be edgy or trying to just say things to get a reaction or attention. At the end of the song, I'm saying that I'm ending Jack Myers, but that's like a character of trying to be edgy. And I think from there on, in that point in the album, it kind of just gets more into me personally as a person and like the things I believe in. So Jack Myers is kind of this character that I made up in Varuk. It starts off with him being in his own mind and detention and kind of being angry at the world and also struggling with their faith, leaving Varuk. It kind of shows that he wanted to change, and I feel like in general Tabang is about growing up and moving on as well.
I drove by your old house where you were kicking.
I made that be at a Starbucks. Okay, so Leaf. Well, the idea of Tabang in general came with me. I just purchased a car and I didn't know how to drive stick, and so I was riding around the neighborhood and I happened to pass by where my friend used to live. She used to live around that area in which I was just happened to be driving around trying not to stall. But that song is mainly about trying to move on in life in general, but more specifically like moving on like after high school. That's why I feel like I repeat a lot of like the 4 years, whether it's the 4 years that you're in high school or the 4 years that I've been outside of high school and just trying to find yourself. The name of the track is called Leaf because after work I went to a Starbucks to work on beats, and I happened to just made that beat, and then I saw a leaf in front of me. I was like, oh, my name is Beat Leaf, and that's it. Like that's just how I'm in my beats sometimes. Whatever I see around me, I'm just like, oh, I'm naming this, and that's what I saw.
Tell me it ain't right, like I ain't being Christ-like.
With Crash, I wanted to dive in more into my like religious life, and having that start off with kind of feeling judged or judgment in general, whether it's me judging other people or I just kind of like burped a bit, so I had to like stop. So I'm gonna start all over. But this is like the first kind of part in the album where I mention God or religion, and for me that means kind of opening up about how I used to feel or how I feel sometimes, whether it's being judged or judging other people. With Crash is more about finally letting that out instead of kind of keeping things in. Like I think that's one thing that kind of scares me, or I kind of keep in mind in the back of my head. No matter what I do, is like, you know, what would I do if like people knew like things that I've done or things that kind of affect me and make me look bad as not only as a human but as a Catholic. And I think about that a lot more now growing up, is how I want to portray myself as a Catholic man.
I get money, I get money, I get money.
This Rice, I just kind of wanted to make kind of like a braggadocious kind of song about money, but I think that only came through within the hook. The actual verses of the song, you kind of have this character kind of just dealing with money and spending. I feel like in Tabang there's a lot more that I share about my own personal life. And I think this is one of those like times where it's like everyone's kind of just dealing with money or dealing with everything financially in their own way. I just happened to kind of put those small snippets in there and try to make this narrative of not only that everything around us is changing and like the value of money is changing, but also you're trying to like just get by day by day. So within each verse, it's like something different. The third verse, I'm saying, oh, 91 octane is insane. Or even in other part of the song where in a world of sirens, where children are dying before they open their eyelids, like that's about like abortion and crime. And there's a lot of just things in general that I think I don't really think I want to speak about first in Varuk, but now I feel like that's like the right moment to talk about those kind of things. A song that's kind of contradicting on itself. The main thing about the song is, you know, kind of how people struggle with money or struggle financially or struggle within crime or where they're at or their neighborhood or gentrification or anything like that. But then like the main like hook of the song is all about bragging about getting money. So that's the only way I could figure out to mesh those two kind of things that are opposite of each other to mesh them up into one song.
There's more heat than a screw job, like we in Montreal.
So I'm a big like wrestling fan, and basically this might be a lot of taking for some people if they don't really watch wrestling either. But basically there's this like incident, right, where you have like Vince McMahon, who was like the main boss in WWE, and we have two wrestlers, who are Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. The main thing was Bret Hart's contract was about to end, and he was a champion at the time, but he didn't want to drop the belt to Shawn Michaels that night in Montreal. It's called the Montreal screw job. So basically, the boss went out there, and then depending on who you ask, they decided to kind of, I don't want to say fake the match, but basically, Bret Hart was in a submission move, and he never tapped out. The boss, Vince McMahon, told the ref to ring the bell so that Shawn Michaels could be champion, and so that Bret Hart doesn't leave with the belt to another company, which would have been WCW. In the wrestling like term or terminology, it's called like heat. Like if you're a bad guy and you're doing something bad, like well, that's called getting heat. And so that's kind of like ties into the song where it's like, and there's more heat, whether it's like heat from like bars, right? Like in rap, there's more heat than the screw job, like we in Montreal. And that kind of just ties into the name of the song. I just thought it was really cool, and I really want to like have that song be like the main like rap song where it's just bar after bar after bar. The song Montreal talks about the negative effects of like hip hop culture or rap culture, but it also goes into other topics, like other serious topics, whether it's addiction or drinking and driving, suicide, even like the effects of like porn on children, where I kind of get into that at the end. And I wanted that to be like the main thing within the song, but also have it be as many syllables or as many rhymes as possible that I can make throughout the song.
I want it, now the money's talking, congratulations.
So with Canon, kind of switching back to like the narrative of like Jack Myers is like kind of picturing himself as kind of just being famous or having fame, and it's just a bunch about kind of sticking true to yourself even if things about you or things around you change, and not really letting your environment kind of decide that for you. And it's just called Canon because I thought about like Canon, like the camera. That's why I have like the kind of flicker throughout the beat. But I was just wanting to make a play on words, so I just added another N, as in like the actual like cannon, like a like arsenal cannon. I really like the beat a lot. I got inspired from Pharrell and the way he uses like his chords, especially like the major and the minor 7 chords. So I kind of just wanted to play on that and have it be a more kind of laid back song, but also tells you a lot about just wanting to stick true to yourself and not really let anything change you.
We're all superstars, even if
That hook kind of just stuck with me. I like working through albums kind of like sequentially. So it's like I gotta have the ideas first, and then the idea of the song, and then actually work on the song, and then finish recording it, and kind of go down one by one. But that whole hook of like being a superstar kind of just tied back even to Montreal, because there's a part in there where I'm like, we're all superstars tonight in Montreal, and it kind of just bring that back at the end in Dash. It kind of ties back to, you know, the song Canon too, which was right before, whether or not, you are going to change when you're in the spotlight or when you have so much fame. It kind of ties back also to religion as well, where it's like no matter if people are looking or not, you still got to be like the best version of yourself. At least for me, like the best Catholic version of myself that I can be, whether or not people are watching me or not. The first verse more kind of again just about moving on. It kind of ties back to leave. Not only that, but kind of just like me driving around would say as well. Took a long way home tonight. Again, when I was first learning to drive stick, it's like all I wanted to do was like drive and try to see where I could go. And sorry, I had my stomach. And last verse of the actual album goes into a bit more serious topic, and that's just me explaining kind of just like about being a man in this world, trying to send a message about fatherhood or absent fathers. Like I say in the song, like, oh, like I'm the reason they don't see college, or the reason they got like mental problems. And that's kind of like, I wouldn't want to say it's ignored, but I don't think it gets talked about enough of how important fathers are. As a Catholic man, it kind of just ties up into my belief, whether it's having like a 2-parent household and how that's important. So I guess it kind of just, this whole final song kind of ties almost the whole album together.
Jack Jordan versus Michael Myers, packing never average.
Big shout out to AOB for helping me record this project at this house, and always making time for me to push things out and get things done. Shout out to AOB and Chris Green as well, because they were background vocals for Rice. Shout out Ethne, he was background vocals for Montreal. Shout out Jaws, he's the background vocals for Dash. And yeah, shout out Blank for having me on here. It's Fresh Ed, again, the sophomore album, Tabang, is out now, everywhere, any streaming platform. And yeah, thank you.
Taking a trip when you lost it, taking it off for the moment. Years go by, and I can even